Hello, welcome to my stream. Might be a bit shorter this time. Not feeling it 100%, but we'll see how we get on. We had quite a good one last time, building, taking all these panels and turning them into a resizable bit of room divider, railing, whatever you want to call it. It tries to select the best piece for the height and the length, which gives some odd results in that that's a sort of half unit multiple, or is it sometimes the bigger pieces fit. Not 100% satisfied with the way that works, and it does look like it might be a bit wonky at the bit lower end, but it does choose the right heights. It goes from the two smaller pieces to the mid-sized piece, and then there's only one narrow tall piece, and so above a certain height it just uses that. There are some nice big panels it uses in these ones. So this time we're gonna use this and try and integrate it into the actual space station room. So we'll leave that little test rig there and go and find my space station-y rooms. Okay, so this is where we left. This is where we left them. Looking quite nice. A bit shimmery, thanks. Unreal. I'm not really an artist. I'm good at fiddling with lighting and stuff, so that's a project for another day. But it does look pretty good. So my idea for the dividers was where you come into a room, there should definitely be sort of like screen either side so that you wouldn't want your clutter falling into the gangway. The longer route side, maybe not. So maybe it just uses the shorter side and adds a partition, which would probably work quite well. Although you would get one here, which maybe you wouldn't want. So maybe you only want it where there's a door. Okay, so if there's a door, we'll do it on the narrow side. So in this setup here, we'd only get them here. The other thing that it might be good to do is when you get a particularly long section, like here, where it's divided all the way along there, maybe it would divide in two, have a divider, and then you'd have two different styles either side. I don't know if it would still have the same fall-off thing going on. We could try that and see. So yeah, let's just try and get that done. So putting them either side of the doorway is really just chopping this frame a bit off the end of this frame and putting in a divider. So let's do that for all of them for now, and see how we get on really. So yeah, we can choose a side, put the divider in. Basically, is our first step. So let's start looking at that. Okay, the room. So rooms, yeah, that's the walls and things. Right, here's the content. So we're building content in slightly from the outside. 0.25. That's interesting. Oh, that's the Z. That's to chop the ceiling and floor off. That's okay. Floor. That's the floor. That's the content. Okay, let's have a look. So content out storage. We split the space up into 4 pieces, and then we fill it with things. This fill should still do this fill exclusively. I think we don't want the logic for the dividers there. I think we probably want some intermediary between where we've divided up the space into the corners, make decisions about how that's used with dividers, and then use the stacking filler, which can also apply if we've like subdivided and put another divider in. We'd then have 2 fillers going on, maybe. I think that'd probably be the best way. And we might want to, the whole sort of fall off thing I've got going on here, we might want to bias that up again or down, so it produces a similar result. but not, because each section would do its own fall off otherwise. We'll see that in a minute, in a bit, if we get that far. So let's have a look here. I think we need some sort of, I mean, it's like a room quarter, so let's do that in the room. So what we got here, fill space, which is what we're using there. Raw content space. Let's call it content. Let's call it quarter, yes. So it's like the layout for a quarter of a room, approximately. I mean, I guess it's yeah, it depends where the divide goes. So we'll see. So that's going to take. The volume. Let's just start by, as we do traditionally. Let's start with a frame. So we're going to have a space to fill, and then the result. So we'll put that in. It's kind of going to replace these. All right. Yeah, it'll replace these, and these will get used within. I think that's probably. There's not like an intermediary, because we don't want all the logic, all the pieces in here. We need to subdivide. So let's pull that in here. So that's also got stackable assets. Okay, that depends on the room type. Oh, we are storage, so that's okay. So we're gonna take in most of these. Occupancy. Oh, yeah, we can turn that up and down globally. And it's randomized if it's not explicitly set. Okay. So we probably got the same inputs actually. So let's do that. Or is there a better way of doing this? No, I'll leave that. So it's going to have the same inputs as this. We've got the frame, we're going to need a seed, we need assets, occupancy, we've already got the output. It's a good little tip for recreating the inputs, is just temporarily drop in a procedure, drag them out, and they'll have the same names, IDs, and everything. They don't get maybe they do get the description, I'm not sure. So we're going to have to there we go, so that's now got those. We're basically going to replace these with these. There isn't a easy way of doing it, except by just pulling all the inputs across, which is probably what I'm going to do. So now we should have, yes, so this first one, we've gone back to a frame. That's fine, we don't need that now. And then I'll just drag in another one. Drag across the connections again. Frame, oops, assets came from there. Seed, occupancy, output. Get that in there. This one again. Sorry, I'm just going to pull these across. Done the same thing with assets. Hello, connect from there. Okay, seed and occupancy and output. That's that one. One more. You can see the other ones I've done here. So let's go over this side. Pull that across, pull that across, pull that across, that across, that across. There you go. So we've abstracted slightly more than we did before. This is more of how the room's divided up, and then each of the quarters we have some further logic we can add in. So at the moment we're doing that. In theory, we could just plug one of these in. We are going to do that. Excuse me. We are going to do that. So let's just wire that up directly for now. Go back to where we were. So that should match what we had before. We just abstracted a layer away. Excuse me. So this frame, I think that they've been reoriented so that the lower corners, the lower value x and y is in the corner of the room that we're building outwards. which means that it'll be the upper X or Y edge that's going to need to get chopped off. And we were going to do it so that the thinner edge, where the shorter edge gets chopped off. The easiest way to do that will be so we're going to chop a piece off, and that's a little split operation should do that. If we split, we take the frame, we split off a bit. So we're going to split because it's the upper edges we're going to chop off. We'll invert that so that this amount comes off the top edge. Let's just do it like that for a minute. Which means the frame is where we're going to build, and the remainder is where the divider would go. Let's show that with another frame here. So that's our stackable space. I'm going to need to merge those together, and we might want more. Let's just do a couple. Wire that up. Okay, so currently we've done a specific axis. It seems to be the if I go up here and look down, yeah, sorry, the X, no, the Y. So we seem to have split the Y. Is that right? No, we split the X. Why is that X? Oh, sorry, yeah, there we go. From here. X, Y. Yeah, so the right side, the X has been chopped off. Excuse me. It's better. And leaving a little space. Now, we need to select based on the size, so we need to switch between X and Y according to which is the longer side. So at the moment we've done X, but X is the shorter side, so it's yeah, we can work that out. We'll work out some logic for that. But we do need the size information about the frame so we can compare them. Dimensions. Yeah, so the frame dimensions will give us our X and Y size, and if the X is greater than the Y, then we will chop off the Y. Otherwise, we'll chop off the X. No, so we can selectively change the split here into X or Y, and we can see that this is an integer of value 0, and this is an integer of value 1. So if we grab this, we can go. If X was greater, we want the Y split. So it's greater, which is true, we want the Y, and if it's not, we want the false, which is 1. So if I do that, that has not worked. Why has that not worked? Has that done the opposite? That's done the opposite. All the long sides have been chopped off. Well done, Mr. Swain. You've got it the wrong way around. Let's do that. If at first you don't succeed, try the other option. Okay, so the shorter edges are now chopped. So that gives us a good position to put the divider in, I think. We could probably just center that. It's a reasonable size. So I'd like a little gap behind, so they're not up against it. Also, it gives a bit more clearance. I think we've got the doors as. That's odd. I thought the doors. Oh, maybe it's just not. Maybe it's just too precise. What did we chop that off at? Door info, content space. I think we made some assumptions about the sizes. Here, that's the door size. So 4 meters for the door. We could probably make that a bit wider anyway. So that brings it a bit more clear of the door. And if we're going to do that, we probably want the divider up against that edge and a bit of gap. So For that, I might just narrow it and leave a little gap either side. And I should be able to fit it along that edge. Let's go. Let's have a go and see. So we've got our divider procedure. We can just drop in there and see what happens. Let's do that. Let's do a frame. We're going to have. Where do we do it? Railing, fill, and see what we get. So, not necessarily going to just work, but we'll see. Okay. So, it has kind of worked. Oh, interesting. So those ones need to be rotated. Why would they be rotated? Oh, it's because it's a different axis. On one it's the X and one it's the Y. So if we're taking a different split, let's go back to the frame, we can see that actually. Yes, so X out here, X along here. So we want X along, which, let's go back to this side. We want X along like this one, which was a Y split. So if we've done the Y split, which is when this is false, we also want to reorient. I wonder if it's the same amount. No, we don't want to reorient in this case, but we do in this case. So it's going to need its own if. Let's just duplicate that. Let's reverse them. Because we're going to... We'll leave the stackable because the orientation is important for that. But in order to align these, we need to reorient some of them. So the remainder needs to be reoriented in Z because it's a rotation from above. So now we should. Okay, so we've got the alignment the same, but we probably want them to be both pointing outwards. So just the other way. So instead of 1, let's go -1. There you go. I think that's probably a good plan. Build the... So the way around it was? We can try it by swapping this here. Okay, so we have our dividers. Now the way the dividers were designed is that they'll fill the full size, so it's done the full length. Oh, you can still get down there, that's fine, we don't mind that. Yeah, we've done the full length, but we don't necessarily want full height, because it'll always, I mean, in most of these tall rooms, it'll just use the silly looking narrow ones. So instead we should probably introduce some height that we want the dividers to use. Now, because we've got a different assortment, maybe we should base it on the occupancy. No. Maybe we should just have it as a proportion of the room height, perhaps randomized per room. Let's do that. I think that'll probably be fine. Let's try that. They look quite nice with the reflections. So we're going to need to split again by Z. We're going to do a proportion. No, I think we're going to do a fixed height because the dividers work up until a certain height, and then there's no point for a really tall room always having pretty tall things. So I think we're just going to split like so. I don't want to split the storage. I just want to split the bit that's being used for the divider, which is over here, like that. So that's they've all gone to 1 unit high. So let's do some randomization. Oh dear. Let's do. So is that a room seed or is that a quarter? That's not the room seed. That's the quartus. That's the fill seed. Yeah, we want this to be is the room seed, the content. Yeah, that's more like a room seed. So let's just call that room, which means this one is also room. Now this is So this is more like the storage. No, this is again. This is a quarter seed because it's different per quarter. How we use that is up to us. We want also to have the room seed here because I think all the dividers should be the same and not be different per quarter, just so it looks more aesthetically pleasing. So we'll do that, and we'll go between min of 1, max of 6. Let's do that and see what we get. Okay, let's also now hook that up. So room seed is actually room seed. Okay, 6 obviously gives us quite a high height. Looks kind of works, but yeah, I think it's a bit much. Let's go with 4 and just stick with that. And then we'll get these. Oh, interesting. That's an interesting one. Why is it done? Oh, it's because that's a different width. So, oops, we're filling a different width. It's decided those are the better. Yeah, this logic, I'm not sure I like the logic we're using. We probably want it a bit more consistent. Maybe it's like maybe the design is a seed choice, not just trying to find the best fit. Just a random choice. In the same way that the smaller heights pieces, there's just 2 choices, so that could be random, but it wants to be consistent. Yeah, I think the style consistency is more important, although where you've got a long one, using a long piece is nice, whereas a short one, it's not. Maybe we just need to not use the short pieces as much as for longer lengths. Maybe above a certain length, it doesn't use it. It's a bit more complicated logic, but hey, it kind of works. I mean, this works. Quite like the idea of this, coming in and seeing dividers protecting me from the stowage. So look at the other rooms. Because I think these have all got some level of storage. This one's got none. Still the dividers though, which is fair. This one, oh, I think I set these all to none, so we weren't updating all of them at once. Yeah, okay, the dividers still go in. So maybe if there's no occupancy, we don't get dividers. That makes sense. Do that. Quarter. So how would we turn that off? Basically not. Oh, we're splitting a 1 here. We don't want that much anyway. Let us. Okay, so if the occupancy is greater than, we could actually, yeah, could actually have it. You only need them once there's a certain amount of clutter. So let's do 0.1, and it starts to do them. And then that will switch between. So there's 2 things needed here. We introduce this split here. I go back to an occupied room so we can see what's going on. Yeah, so I've narrowed it down a bit so there's a bit more. It's a bit closer. So that will. If I just take that off for now, I can switch between 0.5 and 0, which obviously clashes. But what I want to do is when the panel's switched off, I want the stackable stuff to fill it out fully. So what I need to do is also switch whether or not we see any. We put the panel in. Get rid of that. It's now there. Tidy these up a bit. I think I need a. So I'm going to turn off the. Or turn on the panel when the same, using the same logic. Oops. So both of these will now switch based on we want the panels, dividers. So that puts in the dividers or not. Means for a given room, that's not this room, is it? What am I doing? Oh, here we go. Yeah. Well, there's hardly any occupancy at all there. So maybe we just decide when we want them. Maybe it's when they're half full. And it's because that we need the dividers. Let's do that. So let's do 0.5. There you go. So we get, once we get to half full, dividers appear. Do we want dividers where there isn't a wall? A door, sorry. I'm going to say no. How do we work that out? Let me turn the ceiling off and then we can have a look from above again. So, oh, that's something we also need to test. If the room is shorter, oh look, here we go, we've got a mixture now. So on this piece, it's the dividers there. This piece of dividers there. This piece of dividers there. There is no quarter there. Little divider. It does work quite well. I do quite like it. But I think we do need to turn them off for. We only want them around the doors. I mean, it's just tough there. You can't have both ways. Otherwise it would be completely blocked off. But that kind of is fine. Or is it? Because you could have it part way, just inside the door. There's an idea. And maybe on the short side you get a full partition, and on the long side you get a partial one. No, because you wouldn't better get to half the stuff. Sorry, just being a bit nerdy practical. So we want to turn these two off. How do we work that out? So we work out. So there was a decision when the room was divided up. There was a decision made about this side being, when there isn't a door, it does a center gangway. When there is, it follows the door. So we do know whether that decision has been made. So we could have 4 flags, one for each side, so it knows whether there's a door. And what's that look like at the moment in terms of the logic storage here? So the logic it was done in here to divide the space up based on the door information. We've got the frames out. We'd need some extra information out that we can pass to. Each quarter would need to know about 2 sides. So it's like this one will need to know that there's no door here and no door here. This quarter would need to know that there's a door here and not here. So it's kind of like left right. We can make that. Well, it's kind of on the X side and the Y side, isn't it? Which is X side, Y side. Yeah, it probably needs to know it in those terms. So let's have 4 values that come out, 4 flags, and then and each quarter has 2 flags in, and then we're just going to have to match them up. It's not ideal, but I'm sure we can work that out. And then it can make a decision about whether it uses that knowledge on its 2 sides to influence the panels. So let's see what happened in here. Okay. Each one. Okay. Each one. Door position. Door west, east, door south, north. Can we abstract it? Probably. This was the sizing. This was when we were chopping in each axis. Do we have that then? Oh, that's the door position. Oh, because the door position at 0. It's just the position that doesn't actually tell us whether there's a door. I think because if there isn't a door, it defaults to 0, which is okay, but we could have a door at 0. So there isn't that information available, which is annoying. What do we get in here then? That's just the door info. Oh, here we go. We built a little array of. Okay, so this is where they've got the doors, and this is the actual offsets. Yes, and if there isn't one, we put 0 because we want it centered. Maybe we also want to make little structures, so we've got the position and the flag. We basically need both of these pieces of information. I think we could do that. Let's make a little thing for door info. Where are we? Looked at doors, walls here. So yeah, let's do door info. Make. Yeah, so we'll have a break of that in a minute. So we're going to have the. So if there's a door and where it is, so we've got build, look, chain them together, make a little structure. Index 0 is there a door? And this one's going to be where is the door? Sounds like a kid's book. Right. Door where? Let's call it offset from center. And this is now door info. Okay, that's that. We will, by changing what we're doing here to add a little bunch of structures together. So we will make a structure, add it to the list. I think what we might do, if we could move this logic here into here, would probably be a good idea. So what I'm going to do, whoops, hello, oh, you're over there. Reset. Right. So if there's a door, yeah, so that forces the VAT position to 0 because we wanted it centered. That's not relevant anymore. No door default to center. Let's do that. Okay. Then we don't have to do all this out here. What we can do instead, take this here and make several of these. Except there's going to be this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. Now we don't need. What did I just do? That's better. These need chaining together, so we're making an array of structs. Put them in there. There are our new offsets. So we now, instead of, now our door is all broken because our door info structure has changed. So instead of just the offsets, with the fix it up, we've now got little structures. So if we want in the future, we can add more funkiness to that. So in here, we dig in. Now we're not getting this out, we're getting a little structure. And do we want... Yeah, we probably want the structures to go in here. Damn, annoying. Right, I'll augment these. Yeah, because we're going to be getting a little structure out instead. A little list here. Our west. And so on. Let me break those out then. So that will be east, index 1. This will be south, index 2, and this will be north, index 3. We'll sort them over in a minute, but for now, so we want these to have door actual structure inputs, not just the width. So we're going to add those, and in here we break them out because we want the logic. Do we want it in here? Do we want the logic in here? Or maybe we don't. Maybe we just need to... Oh no, we need to know. Oh, we were just going to have a list of... This is the space. We don't actually need it for the logic in here. We need it an output here. Okay, let's get the door info. Let's break that out because we've got a pool and a float which come from the structure, and these are is it door? It's not really door info, it's like all info door. Yeah, it's fine. And offset. So that's good for that. So in here, where are we? In here, we haven't got these. We need to break them out now because they're structures instead. So let's do that. Now we can hook up west to west, east to east, south to south. Things are starting to work again. Here we go. So we've replaced this, just the offset passing through into a structure passing through, and then we can break it out when we need it. Right, that's good. So right, we wanted to know, was there a door, and then we'll do things with it. So let's go back to looking at why we need that again. Yeah, so each quarter we were going to pass in whether there was a door on its left and right, which is 2 flags. So we need to know if there's a door on each side here, and then we can match them up. So this thing, basically it's just like west, east, south, north. Is there a door? So let's just do that. We'll do this first and then name them. So that's right. So this is west door, question mark, east. Okay, that gives us the sides. Good. So they're here. Now we need to be able to match those up to the quarters. So each quarter wants to know, will want to know. Quick way of just right. Oh, just could have just added a bool input. So this is door to left, door to right. Now by left and right, I mean, because we're building from the corner in like X, Y, not, oh, look, here we go. Thank you, Freya. X, Y, where's green? So we're building from the corner out, if you can see this, from the corner outwards. X is the x-axis points to the right hand side. So that's in the. So that's what that means, and the y-axis will be on the left. I mean, we're just calling them left and right for now. We'll probably need to know that, know in a minute how that's used. But for now, we should be able to work out how to hook these up. Right, these have all got a bit bigger, so let's move them around a little bit, like so. Yeah, that go there. Tuck these in a little bit so they're out of the way, because we've got all these inputs here to hook up. So, quarter. Which quarter are we? I haven't labelled them. Quarter number. That's quarter seed. Oh, this doesn't actually care. It's just about which way around it is. Oh, here we go. Southwest space. So the southwest corner has a west door on its left and a south door to its right. So that's down here. West, south. Yeah, let's go with that. So this is the southwest quarter. This is the southeast quarter. And this is the northwest quarter. This means this is the northeast quarter. Right. So southeast quarter here, left will be the south. Right will be the east. Northwest quarter up here. Left will be the north. Right will be the east. Northeast quarter. Left will be east. Right will be north. Now, why have we only got one west? 3 east. Something's not hooked up right. Southeast quarter shouldn't be hooked up to the west. The right door is the east. That's fine. I wonder if the southwest. No, left door is west. Oh, it's the northwest. The northwest quarter, the right door, the west door. There we go. A good little check. Everything has 2 things connected to it. That means that's correct to some degree. They might still be the wrong ones, but okay. So each quarter now knows, in theory, where the doors are, or whether there's a door to its left and right. Now, how do we use that information? So if we're deciding to put a divider on the left or right, there needs to be a door there for that to work. So let's if we select from these two based on whether or not we're doing left or right, which is, let's formalize this a bit better. So we're doing the right hand side if the x is bigger. Yes. So this is a right hand side question mark, and it's false if it's the left hand side. So from that we can, there's actually a if bool, so use a bool to select a bool, which we can use here. So if it's the right hand side, we want to know if there's a door to the right, and if it's the left hand side, we need to know if there's a door to the left. So this is now, is there a door on the side where I want to put a panel? And we can incorporate that into the logic here. So are we putting divider panel in? When we also want there to be a door there, so we want to put a divider and there's a door, so the logic is and. Let's go and try that. Okay, what happened there? Okay, so these have disappeared. There are no dividers except where there's doors. Now that one is interesting because hello, somebody's messaging me a lot. Okay, I'll do that later. So interestingly here, we've suppressed this boundary because it was the shorter side. Actually, it would work to have one here. Well, that complicates the logic a bit more. It would be quite nice to have one there. I mean, these work because it was like, I'm going to have that's the shorter side, I'm going to put a thing in. That does beg the question, if there was a door on the longer side, like if I put an east door here, and turned off the north door. No, that doesn't do it. And what I'm trying to say is, let me make the room bigger this way, until it gets. Yeah, so at some point, there, it's gone from this is the shorter side, so that's where the divide is going, to this is the longer side, so there's no divider, and then hence there's no dividers at all. So maybe the divider is always on the door side? Maybe there's a different logic here. Maybe it's always on the door side, unless there's doors on both sides, in which case use the shorter side. That a better logic? We can try that. Sounds good. I mean, so here we would just have a little divider here. So it doesn't make sense to have a long one. Here, the door, so the divider. Here there's neither, so there's neither. So if there's no doors, we don't want dividers. Do we want? No, we don't. Do we? No. If there's one door, we want it on that side, and if there's two doors, we want it on the short side. Okay. So there's two things to work out here: whether to put a divider in and which side to put it on. Let's separate those out. Whether to put a divider in is based on whether there's a door on either side, because we'll still put one in if there's both. So let's do that. So this is the side, this is the weather. So it's not because of that. So if either sides have a door, we want to put the divider in. Yeah, that's just in the logic section. So that's if there's a left door or there's a right door, we're going to put a divider in. Right, let's do this here. Oh, and we also got the occupancy thing. So there is an and involved. So if it's low occupancy, we'll suppress them anyway. So it is going to be both of these. Let me take that out. Oh yes, instead of this, we're basically removing that. So let's do this. Yeah. Oh, this is the split as well. So that's not there really. This is the result. Oh, we're putting a divider in. Okay. Needed. Okay. Let's put that's is there stuff? Then we'll put it in. Let's look at. So now the decision is here, which side. So we've got, yeah, we've put divider in. So for this one, it wants to be on this side because of the door. This one, there's a door on both sides, so it wants to be the shorter side. So the logic is, if there's two doors, if there's both left and right, we're going to use the short side logic. The short side logic is here. Which is it's used in two places. So are we going to go on the right hand side? Alright, let's take this out. So we are going to choose between right hand side logic or which side the door's on. Is the door on the right? Yeah. And that is going to be our choice. So at the moment, it's always on if there's a door on the right. Door on the right, door on the right, no door on the right. So that has worked for the case, these two cases. But this one, it's actually pretty good. Not right though, because because this happened to be on the right. If this was, we're not using the shortest side, so let's change the size a bit and see if we can induce the error. Again, that's the short side. Oh, hang on. Yeah, this. It's the doors. If there's only one, it's going to be the. Oh, it's if it's both sides again. So we need to make it force this to be non-thin, or I could force a door over here. Let's do that. See if that works. Yeah, so make it a bit north door. Yeah, so you can see here, this should, it's got a door on both sides and it should choose this side, but it's not. It's using the right because of the right logic. So this is the single door logic. So this is both doors, which we can derive from if there's a door to the left and a door to the right. Both. There we go. So that's now, if there's both doors, it will use the shortest side logic. If there's one door, it will use the door side logic. That means we get this kind of behavior favoring the doors to put the panels in, but not. If there's a door both sides, it favors the short side. Because I think that looks aesthetically best. We turn off the east door. It favors the door side. This is favoring the short side. We don't have a divider if there's no doors. It's really just a protection as you enter the room. But in this case, you don't get that because it's only a narrow lot. We could have a tiny one, just a little one to stop the door getting blocked by things. Maybe. I mean, things could still fall off. I think that's good. which means these rooms, we shouldn't have dividers because there's no storage. I mean, if I go in here and put the occupancy back to small or random, it's gone to it's gone. Oh wow, that's new. Crate materials have gone crazy. Why have we got that? Let me go back to. There you go, some occupancy. Oh my god. That's funky. Yeah, it's a small room, minimal storage, but we now have dividers by the doors, which is good. Let's try a corridor is far too small. This one, let's have a look. Let's give it some occupancy, fill it with some stuff. Yep. None by the no doors, dividers, short side. Yep. This room. Fill it with stuff. Nothing happened. Oh, we haven't reached. Oh, we have. Oh, that's interesting. Doesn't think there's a door. I wonder if that's because it's inherited the door from the neighbour. I don't know that we're picking up on that. That would be something to fix. So, other doors. We're not incorporating other doors. Other doors west. Okay. That is the frame of a list of frames of. No, it's a list of the other doors. Each one is a structure with the frame in it. Yeah, because we use that to work out where to leave a space, don't we? Other doors. Has other doors. That's diagnostics. Yeah. Modify a structure, get the bounds, other door center, blah blah blah. So this logic. Oh, actually, did we pass that out? No. We could pass that information out of the wall. Right here, do we have. I could just build a door info structure and pass it out. And then in here, collect them up and add them to this. Yeah. We need to override these. So at the moment there's only one door on a side allowed. So it'd have to pretend to be a flag and a thing. I could do that. Actually, I could pass this in. Can I pass this in? You can replace entries in a list. So you could basically override. If one of these comes in, we could override these settings. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that next time. I'm gonna do that next time. Okay, so this room doesn't work because it's inherited a door. But these other rooms do because they have explicitly specified doors. Oh, I'm quite pleased with that. Make the room a bit smaller. There we go. Yeah, sneakily make that look right. Okay, I think that's good. Let's go with that. Ta-da! Like that. That's the stream done. We have dividers in our rooms. Kind of all the logic seems to make sense. Like they're used in sensible ways. Need to look at the improving how it chooses which panels. I might have a look at that off stream, but we'll see. And we can look at fixing that other issue. So maybe, or maybe not. Maybe I'll do that next stream. Just do some finicky bits and pieces, some tidying up. Nothing not like a major feature type thing, but fixing some logic so we can have better panel choices, so we don't get all the narrow ones always or often. So it's maybe stylized for a room. And also the other doors, inherited doors from other rooms, need to contribute to this information as well. That's true. Oh, that's an interesting point. That means, well, in theory, that means we don't get. Do we get the division in the right place? No, we don't. I think this. So this room's west door, yeah. You can see it's driving the position of the quarters in the other room, but it's not doing this room. This room thinks it's got no door and it's centered at the packing. Alright, we need to fix that. Look, can't have that. Whereas, oops, this room, very nicely, rebuilds according to... Oh, look, there, that's interesting. We should have some sort of cut-off. The space is too small, you cannot build, cannot fill, it's going to the sort of single... but yeah, above that is fine. Okay. I need to follow the... I don't know what's going on with these crates. They're a bit crazy. Crazy crates. Right. Yeah. Okay. We need to fix this. Do that next time. Somebody's in trouble for stacking stuff in the wrong place. Nah, it's just a bug. Okay. Take care. I'll see you next time.